Hey, today I'm going to do tips for tipping or tipping tips. That sounds weird. I'm going to do guidelines for tipping when you're on safari. It's one of the questions I get from all my clients, how to tip. And it's a really important one because you're going in different things, like you're doing transfers, you're going to restaurants, you're going to hotels, you're being guided. So it's a great thing to know because you don't want that awkward under tipping situation that you would feel badly about. And if you over tip, you want to do it knowingly and purposefully so you can feel good about it. You know, tipping is something that I do so generously in Africa, and I'll tell you why. The people are just so hardworking and they are so super friendly and they go above and beyond any place I have ever been. There's a guy named Elijah. This is an example of what I'm talking about. He's a waiter in a hotel, Ole Sereni in Nairobi. And he saw me with a group of all women and he started talking to us. And Elijah found out that most of us were from California and he started calling us Hotel California. So when we would come to meals, he would be like, Hotel California is here. And he was just like overly friendly. And he ended up giving me this bracelet, which is from, it's the Kenyan flag colors. And it's so meaningful because he took it off of his hand and he put it on my hand. And this is just a typical way that they're super friendly. But Elijah rides his bike for 2 hours around 4 o'clock to get to work at around 6. He works all night and he works until 7 in the morning and then he rides his bike home and sleeps. So I feel like people like that who are so hardworking and so committed deserve really good tips. So I tend to lean on the side of generous tipping. But I'm going to give you the minimum and standards. So let's talk about, as we go through our safari time, your operator should have given you a sheet of how to tip. And so if it doesn't coincide with what I'm saying, you might want to think about what I'm saying, because I've been doing this for 34 years. I've been going to Africa, and for 15 years I've been leading tours for people like yourself. And also been designing tours for people like yourself. So I'm very familiar with what works and what doesn't work over there. So transfers, that's the very first tipping opportunity you're gonna have. You're gonna be picked up at the airport by the operator. He's gonna carry your luggage, he's gonna put it in the truck, and he's gonna transfer you to your hotel. And at the end of that, you wanna give him $5 per person. That's kind of a really nice, friendly way to start. Then you're gonna go into your hotel and maybe you're gonna sit down and you're gonna have food, and you wanna do anywhere between 10% minimum and 20% would be a really generous tip. And why not be generous, like I said, especially if you've got somebody like an Elijah, which you probably will have. And then you're gonna go out, you're gonna probably take a plane, and there's no tipping involved there unless you have a porter who at the hotel is taking your, I have a little doggy friend here. My friend Lobo is gonna be barking and trying to get me to throw things for him. So if he interrupts us, it's okay. So if you get a porter who's taking your luggage for you, you can give him $2 a bag. That's really just like you would do in America. And then you're gonna go out onto safari and you're gonna be with what are called guide drivers. So they will be your eyes and ears in the bush, and they will be driving the truck, and they will also be teaching you about everything that you're seeing. And you want to do a minimum of $15 per person per day. So if you're at a lodge for 3 days and that guy picked you up in mid-afternoon, drove you on a game drive that afternoon, then the next day you had him do it again, and the next day you had him do a morning drive, that's basically 2 full days of guiding. So that would be minimum $30 for me as a tip. And you could give $15 to $20. $20 is a really, really good tip per person. So sometimes my groups are like 6 women and we give 6 times $20 per day. So the guy makes a lot of money and he deserves it. They work super hard. They get up early in the morning. They fill the truck with drinks and breakfasts and blankets and rain gear and all that to protect us. And they're, driving us around all day and taking care of all our needs. So for me, I think 15 is not enough, but that is the minimum, 15. Lobo, you gonna come to Africa with me? You'll be eaten alive. He'll be eaten alive. I don't think so. I don't think that's a good idea. So that is for your guide. And then you go to the next lodge and you do the same thing. You say, we arrived at this time. We had this many drives times 15 minimum per day. So that should help you really understand tipping. And then And then at the very end, you're going to probably go to, you're going to have a day either at hotels, so you're back to restaurant tipping, you're back to porterage tipping, and then you're back to being transferred back to your hotel, which is again $5 per person. And when you tip, one other thing to do is you shake the person's hand and you have the tip in your hand. And so it's not that comfortable for them to look at the tip, and they just thank you and acknowledge, and you just stick it in their hand. If you have a big group like I do and I take all the tips, I put them in an envelope and I hand the envelope with a thank you card to the guide. One other place you're going to need to tip is at each lodge. At the end of your stay, you're going to put a tip in the staff box, and that's about $5 per day per person, and that will include the cleaning lady, the cooks, and all the staff. So that should, I think, cover it all. Let me just look at my notes quickly and make sure I've covered it. And I think with that knowledge, you'll be good to go, and you'll know all my tips about tipping. So safari njema, which means in Swahili, have a good safari. Go to savingwild.com if you want to know more about my safaris. I would love to take you and show you the magic of Africa.